I am Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM24 Yeti episode 16. Last two stages of the Tour of Austria, in which case it's a 0.1, but we've got a very, very deep field with 79 and 80 rated riders, especially on the punchy side. And that is what we're into for the last two stages of this one. We are very well placed in the GC, but not really a contender for the win. But as we are close to it, we're going to at least give it a go and say we tried. Already on the first significant climb of the day, you can see we're already suffering immensely here. 118 in the peloton. The breakaway was rather large with 18 riders. They dropped off the first and now starting to accelerate, so we don't drop out the back, please. Please don't drop out the back. I've really tried to conserve here, and we've gone well towards the back, and that's how weak we are compared to the general field. Position improving, also recovering, definitely what we need before we head into that next one, which is uncategorized. But even here, after the intermediate sprint, there's going to be a quick uphill over that stretch. Breakaway at one point had about a 5-minute gap. It's down inside 2 now, and they're definitely under pressure, and the first rider's already dropping out the back of the peloton. It's going to be hard to even make it through here. It's the same climb as the finishing climb. We're going to do 3 circuits from this point going forward. Let's see how bad it is. 2.3K, 14%. It's tough. It is tough. Luckily right now, though, we're not going too hard, too deep, but Chembry's not going to last. He and his -3 will be out of here pretty soon. Not even halfway up the climb. He's trying, but he is fading fast. And there he goes, out the back. Down to 100 riders. Big splits. Lots of big splits at the top. Walter's among them. Walter's today with a -4 is a domestique. Mokaki and a couple of riders going back into that, and we now have 60 here in the peloton. The front group down to 10 riders, holding the gap, but just 10 of the 17 remain as they go through there, and we now need to reassess. Abdullah is definitely the weak man. Let's protect +5 Hopkins and Regatta, 2 +5s, getting the top man treatment today. Abdullah, come on. He's not going to make it over this little hill. He's going to get dropped. He is going to get dropped and does.
There's more than a minute on the clock.
Out the back. It's too late for a gel to help him anyway. Down to 58. Sabbath. Let's get his gel going. Will he get enough recovery to give us a little support? We need water, and I just don't see it happening in a helpful, meaningful way. Maybe at the top of the climb. Here in 10K, Food Sabbath won't be there, but maybe Hopkins can get Regatta water, and the group will be thinned, and it is thinning already. It's down to 33. Up the effort to hold position. Still 9 at the front, but down to a -8 now on them, so it's coming back pretty quickly. The air. Christian, a group trying to come back. Kwiatkowski, wow. Wow, look at those ratings. That is not Kwiatkowski. He's not great these days. He is not, world champion level anymore, but he is better than that. 24 left in the group, 23 left in the group. Regatta, accelerating. Hopkins, see you later.
Some riders were not giving it their all and sharing the pace.
Nearly to the top. Heading up. Okay, we're left with just 6 at the front now. Are any of them true threats? No. It's really a bunch of my riders. Well, here you've got, Grossschartner, even Fernandez. Gegenhardt, 78s, 79s. And Regatta really doesn't have enough left in the tank for that final climb to contend. I think we'll be lucky to crack the top 10. And still a minute 20 behind those last few riders up the road. It's not even a given that they're going to be caught. Catch a few more of the front riders, so it's 24 chasing down 3 now. Just 40 seconds. They probably will get caught here after all. Yeah, 17K. They'll get caught. There's a chase happening. There's enough support riders for those that are here. Micromanaging, though, we need to really bring down that heart rate. We've got the heart rate down, so recovery is happening rapidly. Gives me a bit more to go with. Okay, now speed up over the top of that. Get back into position. Ease off again. And gel. 5K left. Slow down here at the base. 30 seconds to the front 3. They have held on this long. And what's that chase going to be like right now? It's going out. The gap is going out pretty quickly here. 2.8K. Regatta starting to just ride his pace towards the top. What can he do for 2K? I think about an 87 is about all he can manage here. Inside 2K now. Even an 87 might be pushing it down to an 85. 1.8K. There goes the first 10 to 15 riders. So we'll be cracking top 20 only. We did catch those front guys. Down to 22 in the group. 3 now escaping, and Regatta's about last place here. It's still a K to go, and he's about to get dropped, so he is going to miss the top 20. And actually even worse, as a chase group is now pushing past us. De Plus takes the win ahead of Valens, and Gegenhardt only 3rd. Gross, Conrad. And we are now the entire team out of contention with 1 stage to go. And it's also looking rather hard of a stage. If we couldn't make it on this one, I think the next stage is even harder. I think, and that was with a couple guys on +5s. I think the next stage is going to be a similar thing. So let's push on to the next race. Castilla Leon is where we are now, and we're down to 8.7K before I decide to put my foot down. The reason for that is 2-stage race. First of the 2 stages, both are going to be sprints. But while I do have my 3 primary sprinters here, I do also have my 2 lowest domestiques, my 2 remaining pieces of the year 1 squad. So 5K to go, and it's going to be time for Abdullah. We have to get forward here, and we are just not in position right now. 3.5K. Gels for these guys. Come on through. 2.7. Abdullah, start sprinting. There you go. He's brought me forward a bit, but can Walter squeeze through? He can. There's a little bit of a hill here. I thought I already gelled for everyone. I did not. Come on, Hopkins. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen today. Not going to happen today. We are close, but we're not quite on it. Oliveira takes the win ahead of Jackson, and we're going to actually slip out of the top 5 on this one. Barely make top 10. Didn't make top 10. 12th. Yikes. Final 10K of stage number 2, the final stage of this short stage race. Sabanda still trying to get through the field right now, as a lot of sprint teams are already in position, but they have smaller sprint teams than what I have set up. Usually we've been seeing a lot of 4 or 5 rider setups here, but yeah, Sabanda still can't even get through. He has not been able to find a space to pull us forward. Could that finally be it? He gets through, but Abdullah is now caught up. This is rather challenging. We definitely need to be going 99 on this. Alright, Sabanda is done. On to Abdullah. Williams is through. Walters is sneaking through. Abdullah is just off pace, 2.7. We are going to start sprinting here with Williams, and he pulls Walters through at least. I don't know if Hopkins is coming with him. I guess we'll find out in a second. 1.4K. I do not see Hopkins. Walters has done really well with this. Will Walters hang on? Here comes Hopkins. Hopkins comes too late. Otherwise, he comfortably would have won this. Lenardi Hopkins gets 4th. Lenardi for the win. Man, that would have been it. That would have been it. We could not get through the field. Nice big wide road, but team, all the way across the road, and we could not find a way to get ahead of it. Now, normally, I get started earlier by about 3 kilometers, but Mabungo and Zamet. Mabungo was already even dropped from the group 25-30k earlier, and Zamet was at the back of the group having faded and being out of energy. So without their support, I waited 3 kilometers later to start my train, and that is why I go early. I've over the years, I get questioned a lot when I take on this type of save, where we are much weaker than everybody else. We just put in a really good run with Hopkins, but it was for 4th. Why? Because he's weaker than everybody else. Our chance of winning is at the front. If we come from behind, we're not going to win. It's that simple. That would have been it, but we got caught in traffic. That was a clear win situation. Williams was in the ideal lead-out man position, but Hopkins wasn't on his wheel. Hopkins was on somebody else's wheel, caught in traffic, and that's why I get out front and try to stay out front. Here, we never did until the very last 3 guys, but only 2 of them came through. And by that point, positioning and remaining effort, Williams wasn't able to continue all the way to the line. He went to the time he was supposed to as the lead-out man, but we lose the guy behind him. So far this year, scouting has not resulted in any would-be signings, so we are looking straight at the dossiers and through the scouting of the unlocked nations within the pool. 2 more races, a single-day race and a 4-stage race, are all that remain for me before the signing period. Moving straight on to the Czech Tour, the other 1-day race had an unfortunate outcome. The pace was relentless and my entire team was dropped 40k before the finish, and we did not compete at all. In the end, didn't even crack the top 50. The other unfortunate thing, besides not getting the win, is that I ended up with my 2 best sprinters there. And today is the opportunity. Today would be the opportunity if I could get through. I'm having the same problem that I had a couple races back. I just cannot get forward. We're 5k out, but Kenya is so weak flat rating that I am going to soft sprint with him until we get to somebody who actually does have a flat rating in Food Sabbath. Can you get out of the way? 3k, we are going to soft sprint now. Soft sprint. Oh, this is just not going well. We have not... Shembri is the one who's come through and is positioned well, but Bukaki, who's our lead out for Williams, is awfully weak, and Williams is at 1k already, pretty low on red bar, and he's getting overwhelmed. And especially now without the red bar. 2 goals is going to take the win. 2 goals is a 69 sprint. Stewart, 75. One of 2 riders with a 75 rating after that, and they finished 2nd and 3rd, by the way, so they didn't win. They were beatable. Actually, they finished 2nd and 4th. They were beatable. If I had my other team here, or if I had my best riders here, I think we could have won this one. Instead, Corey Williams gets only 15th place with a terrible lead out. It's also this same weak team that's set to take on the next 3 stages, and the next 3 stages are not sprints. So I think we are in for, well, a battle that's over our head, and therefore I think we're going to be moving on from these couple potential races into what's next, which is the signing period. It's signing day, but before I do any signings, I need to evaluate the squad. Abdullah is back for next season, as is Hopkins. Young Mokaki, who has plenty of potential left, as is Regatta. Chambry, also a developing talent, getting better. And Red Walters. That is 6 returning riders for the coming season. To evaluate the rest of the riders, let me give you a quick summary of them. Bukenya has tons of potential, but when I go through the evolution tab, he has barely progressed except last year. And doing the math, he's already he's about 6 levels in of a 20 level up system, and he's still only a 1.5 star guy with his best rating as a 61 overall. I find I have the finances for it, and this will be a big if. At the end of the process, I may start a development team, in which case Bukenya will get a spot on that development team just in case. But at 20 years old and already 6 or 7 levels in, it slows down at this stage, so progress comes much slower. He's supposed to be a sprinter. He's supposed to train as a sprinter. He's got a 58 sprint with a 61 acceleration. He's just not developing in a meaningful way. And even though he on paper has the potential to be a 4-star sprinter and a 3.5 star overall, I don't think he's actually going to make it, and I certainly don't think he's going to make it anytime soon. So I'm going to take the risk of letting him go for now, unless I get that development team coming back. Same boat for Mahmoud. Mahmoud, not even as much potential, is slightly better off, but at 60-60, he's the same complex situation that we have when it comes to Bukenya, and so both of them are going to be set aside for now. Mabungo and Zamet, of course, are both our returning members from last year that can't even stay in the peloton for a lengthy duration. Both of them are being let go. I think actually only one of them is choosing to end their career at this point. That's Zamet. For some reason, Mabungo thinks he still has a future in the sport with a 53 downhill and a 52 acceleration and a couple of 51s. All he has. Everything else is literally bare minimum. The next two have been difficult decisions. Corey Williams is a 2.5 star current sprinter. He got our first pre-.1 victory, but in that Pop 1 category, he got that first win for us. He still has a 68 sprint. However, in the evolution side, even though he's only 31, you can see he has gained 0 levels in 2 years, 20 months, right? He's gained 0 levels and he has begun degrading, which means even though right now he's our 3rd best sprinter, he is going to get worse and worse and worse. The only way he gets re-signed is if I can't find a suitable replacement and I do a 1-year contract to keep him here as a support rider. Same problem exists with Foon Savith, only worse. He is our highest paid athlete this year, but at 34 years of age, not only is he done leveling up, he is getting worse rapidly. Just a month ago, he was a 68, 67, 67, and he's dropped off multiple times in the last couple of months and is getting worse at a rate that will make him useless by early mid next season. Therefore, we are definitely not going to take the risk to sign him. And that leaves me with one questionable decision. Sabanda, seen as a 5-star prospect, but like the other older athletes set in here, he is someone who comes in a little bit older, and part of this is artificially inflated, but not entirely. This is somebody who's on that edge between old and young, development or fading. Well, the fading, even though he's only 26, has started early with him. And in year 1, he leveled up like crazy. He was somebody who was in the 50 to 55 range at the start of last season. We signed him in August already into the 60 range. Since then, he has brought that up to mid-60s. Phenomenal. But all of a sudden, he is slowing down. And if I'm counting this out, sometimes it's hard to figure out how far along you are. That's 7 levels. But he might not have started as a level 1. Actually, probably did start as a level 1. I mean, if we're talking about low 50s, He probably did start on that first level. But he is both leveling up and degrading at this point, which means he's probably not going to get much better than he is right now, which is a 65 mountain, 65 hills, mid 60s, and really lower. A 69 downhill is kind of the only decent rating that he has. In a pinch, we'll re-sign him for 1 year, but I do worry that he too is done, which means the 6 returning riders is all I have going into the signing period, with probably 8 targets to get after. 8 signings confirmed for the coming season. We'll go over them one by one briefly. But first thing, we're improving, but only slightly. Going from 13 to 14 riders. 3 of those expiring contracts are in that second tier, that upper echelon of riders that we had on the team. So there's definitely something to replace with them. Now, of course, 2 of them are already fading. Really, all 3 of them actually are already starting to fade, weren't they? So if we could at least find an equivalent for those 3 and then get something better out of the rest of the 8 signings we have, then we're definitely making progress, because 4 of them were pretty bad and really didn't help the team much at all when used. Chambry is now the weak man, and he has definitely been a difficult domestique, but certainly better than the ones that we're leaving behind. Mokaki has leveled up rather rapidly. I think he started the year as a 1-star. He just recently, about a month ago, start of July, got his 2nd star rating. So he's definitely improving, and he's got plenty of potential left. Our definite prospect, who doesn't offer as much now, as a weaker domestique, is Wang. And Wang definitely gives us something we don't have in any of the riders that we had on the team at this stage. Yes, it's potential side, but even in low to mid 60s, he's not far off from what we had now, like a Sabanda. Sabanda is a 65, so he's only a couple points behind him. If he levels up relatively quickly, he will match Sabanda and has far more potential, and at 19 will actually, get somewhere with that, because Sabanda technically has it. He's just not making it, and he's already declining. But can climb, can time trial, is a little punchy, will have a good flat. This is a pretty good balance for our level, if he can level up rapidly, that is. Just above him is Giotti, who is much the same. A little bit weaker as a time trialist, a little bit less potential overall, except for where punchiness comes in, where he'll be a little bit stronger, but similar profile, the 2 of them. He's already that little bit better off, but really not really, right? It's still mostly 63s. He's just already got a 68 flat, which will certainly help us in various races in the lead out. And from there, we're already into 2.5-star territory. So 3 2.5 stars going out, and we have 5 of them coming in. So we're already exceeding value like for like with a +2. But of course, those 2 weren't like for like that we just looked at compared to the other riders, other than maybe a Sabanda comparison. So let's see what the others give us. If this is accurate, this is our biggest prospect so far, as a strong climber with a good hills rating, a little bit of pace in the sprint, a little bit of time trial capability. He'll lose GC time trial wise, but if he can get to that mountain rating, 5.5-star mountain rating, this is a massive steal for us this early in the playthrough. And there is your Sabanda replacement, as he's already coming in that similar territory. Now we've just got to worry about Funsavith and Corey Williams. With Corey Williams, we've got it covered here pretty quickly. Alton Garrell, he is coming in at a 67 sprint with much higher acceleration, in fact the highest on the team that we have to this date. He's also got okay capabilities as a climber and plenty of potential left, and the 21-year-old has been leveling up fairly quickly so far in this one. The points don't quite align, but it is so close that this is definitely a Corey Williams replacement, like for like, with much more potential, where he'll probably, by the early part of the season, already be better than Corey Williams has been for us. and he's been good. So we're going to be better off. He could take over as our lead sprinter, possibly before the end of the season. But we didn't get a Corey Williams replacement. We got 2 Corey Williams replacements. Here is the like for like of a 68 sprint and a 68 acceleration with a 68 flat. So Cheng is going to come in, and then of course 19 and lots of potential. We're looking at very quickly exceeding the likes of Corey Williams. So we got 2 for 1 in replacement there. Stanley Sophia brings something unique that I don't normally go after. He's mostly a Barrador with Northern Classics and time trial tendencies. Flat rating is his primary attribute. I have seen my last playthrough that having somebody with a good flat rating is fantastic for setting up a sprint train. It's going to be important, though, that he does learn how to climb a bit better for him to be effective and be used more than just on flat stages. But he's already got a 70 flat rating coming in and plenty of room for growth. Next up, I'm replacing 0 3-star riders with 2. We are doubling our count on 3-star riders. We're not finding anything necessarily better than what we had. In the first case, it's just adding another quality all-around kind of guy. Betsaikin is okay as a climber, but he's a decent puncher. He's got some capabilities as a sprinter, especially with the acceleration to go with the punchiness. He is pretty well-rounded. So he's an all-around rider who fits into that A squad. If he could get a +5, he can be a leader for a day and do damn near anything. Without the bonuses, he could be a good domestique, no matter what type of profile we're looking at, is a good temporary addition to the team. And remember, with Hopkins, he's already nearly maxed out and 25 years of age. Red Walters, he's got a little bit of room left to improve, but it's not much. He's got same sort of thing. He has been our puncher many times. He's only a 67. He's been our sprinter many times. It's only a 68. His flat rating is a 70. His acceleration is a 70. He's got that little bit left, but at the 26 years of age, I don't expect him to improve anymore. So our last guy comes in, our best rider. I would tend to not agree with that because he's lacking many elements. And a lot of profiles, he's going to have a hard time and struggle. He's heavily weighted towards his sprint, which he is a sprinter, but he's coming in already with a 70 sprint and a 69 acceleration, which on paper is our best sprinter, but incapable of climbing, terrible flat rating, terrible stamina rating, poor resistance, no recovery. He's going to have to be protected very well. He's going to need positive race day conditions to be selected as the sprinter. But if he has it, and if we have a simple profile or a simple run-in towards the finish, he can immediately come in and be 2%, 3% better than the guys we've had running for us this season. And he does have plenty of potential, but is already 22. So compared to the other group that's already in that 3-star category, he's younger, has much better potential, but he's a weaker all-around rider. He's just a stronger sprinter than those other guys. So he's a tricky situation to pick up, but he's one that you're not going to pass up on. You're going to take him regardless because he comes in, on paper, your strongest rider. Where that leaves us is we do not have a direct replacement for Funsabeth. We took care of Sabanda, and we have the 2 prospects with much higher potential, but they're not yet at the level required. We're losing 1 sprinter, but we're replacing it with 3, so we're going to get even stronger in the sprint. We added somebody who is a puncher. Good things are coming on that, but we are losing a little bit of our mountain capability. However, Funsabeth at 34 is losing it rapidly anyway, so he's already weaker than he was and wasn't able to do anything. The thing that stands out for me at the moment is looking at all of our best riders. There are sprinters or punchers. So right now, that's the team we are shaping up to be once again. Regatta, Zhu, Wang are set to come in and develop and be something for us, especially as young riders. We have quite a few young riders within the squad now, and the few mid-20s guys that are done developing, and one of them already starting to show. No. It's the 3 that we're letting go that are showing the signs of decline. So those 3, we would hope, will be stable for a year or 2. All of them have expiring contracts next year. If we can get the snowball rolling a little bit, we'll probably be looking to replace those guys with other leaders that come in, but maybe not. Depends on the development of the riders below them and what's available to us next year. 8 riders that we have signed, 6 of them come in with that latest victory and that additional Asian nations that have come in, mostly for Mongolia, which was the Tutu nation, and Taiwan. So had we not picked up that victory, only 2 of these riders would have been obvious selections. My other selections were less helpful. So we are definitely taking a step in the right direction. The snowball is beginning to roll. In terms of looking at our profile, you can see that we are dropping off GC a little bit. That's the Foon Sabbath effect, but we are definitely getting more punchy. We are definitely getting stronger in the sprint as well. More well-rounded, but also tiny in our overall shape. We've got a long ways to go still yet, and this is not going to be a revolutionary step up next season, at least not without the development of riders. The big thing is we're going from a handful of riders that we rely on for everything, and when we don't get them into a race, we've already seen the impact of that. Missing a sprinter, missing a couple lead-out guys because of squad rotation has left us horribly vulnerable, and we've lost races that we would have won if we had our full A-team. But you can't bring out your full A-team every single race. You have to have rotation. Next year, all but 3 of our riders are already coming in at that A level that we had this year. We're going to be able to rotate a lot easier, and then even then, the remaining 3 are much better than that supporting cast was this past season. So what we're really doing into year 3 is we are increasing our depth, our options, which is going to allow me to compete a lot more often to finish off the point ones and hopefully snag a couple pro victories so that we can at least start to open that end of the pool up, and hopefully before August next year, so that we can then go in and revolutionize the squad and sign many better riders. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.